Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
The fuck is up, man? I didn't see you all fucking weekend.
I know, man. I was, busy working, and I went to the U.S. Open tennis tournament in New York.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yes, I did.
You invited me to that, and I was like,
I knew you wouldn't like it.
Absolutely no way I'm going.
But like, I won these free. Not won them. My sister's boyfriend. His family has season tickets there, and he hooked me up with
season tickets to the U.S. Open,
pretty much,
or to the Philadelphia Freedom with the tennis team.
I have a feeling his father might be a member there.
Okay,
so he gets every single day. They got
where was it?
They have tickets there.
Where was it?
It's right by the Met Stadium. I forget what the name of the park is. It's we're Men in Black. You know, at the very end of the Men in Black movie, you know, the big globe and the little UFO-looking towers.
Okay, so it's in New York. Right, it was in New York,
yes.
And that is the old World's Fair.
Yeah, I forget the name of the park. God.
Okay,
but it was an interesting experience. I mean, I took a few of my coworker buddies there, and you know, it was a 13-hour day, you know, with the driving and
you sent me
the drinking Heinekens all day long. My God, and I hate Heinekens.
Is that all they had?
Pretty much.
It's fucking
like
terrible.
That was their main I guess it was the main sponsor was like Heineken, and that's all you can see.
I guess they were
Heineken, Miller Lite, or Strongbow.
I'm so fucking cider. Ugh.
It was rough. It was rough.
That's something for the ladies.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't do cider. I would have been miserable.
For the gluten-free types.
It was also mildly hot. It was sunny and stuff like that.
It was a beautiful day. We had a great time. I got all dressed up in a seersucker jacket and everything.
I know you did.
Ooh, my little pink polo on. I got it all dressed up.
So Jay sent a picture of himself to me, and he's
just because I know Dave would love it.
He should have known that I was going to alter it. Like so first off, his two friends aren't dressed like like schlubs. They're not schlemiels, but they were.
I went all out. Yeah,
they were just wearing polos. But Jay has like a full on blazer on, and it was still like 85 degrees outside, and he committed to that blazer all day. So he sends me this picture of him and his friends with the tennis court in the background. You had to know I was going to do something to it.
Yeah.
So instead, what I did was I took two pre-existing pictures of Jay, cut his face out, put it on top of his two friends, and I just put a caption above it: "The whitest kid you know." And I made sure I put that up on Twitter for everybody to see, because that is the whitest white dude thing to do. It's like, I'm going to go to the U.S. Open. Was it at least the ladies playing?
That's even more so than like a golf tournament.
Yeah, pretty much. Was it at least the ladies playing?
Oh, it was everything. That's the weird thing about it. There's like multiple courts going on at the same time. So there's like a lot of different kind of venues. We had tickets to the main stadium stage, and we saw Venus Williams play.
Because I might go for the
There's a decent amount of that. Yeah. I know.
I'm gonna break your dick off.
Stay tuned.
Anyway, yeah, no, I wouldn't have enjoyed myself at all, and more than likely, every white person around me would have been annoyed with me. That's eventually what would have happened.
Well,
people would have gotten annoyed with me and making jokes. And
I'm not a big tennis person, you know, but I wanted to experience it, and it was interesting, but I wouldn't want to go to it again. It's such a long day, and I feel like, you know, everybody they're all tennis players. You have to be you got to be a tennis player. You have to enjoy tennis or know these players to get into it.
I'm 100% sure I could play tennis and have a good time. Like I can fuck around, play tennis.
I'm really good at sports normally, but for some odd reason, I can't get into tennis. I am not that good at it.
Yeah, I'm not going to take it seriously. I'm just going to fuck around with it and just maybe play against a friend and maybe have a good time. But watching it, fuck no. Like absolutely not. I can't watch it. Same thing goes for golf. I might be able to go.
If you're not into golf, Watching golf is a lot worse than watching tennis.
Watching golf is like, I remember growing up.
I love it because I play golf and I know all the players. Then you can get into it.
No.
But
for what?
it's hard to explain. Anybody out there who plays golf and watches golf, shoot at Dave at Super Movie Pod on Twitter and let him know.
Let me know what
how great it is.
Do you think you're going to change my mind on something I'm already made it up that I dislike?
Just that I'm not alone.
I believe me, it wouldn't be aired on TV. There wouldn't be an entire PGA channel if you were alone.
It's true.
You're not alone. It's just I just can't fucking stand it. It's just not something I'm ever going to get into.
That's fine. I hear you.
So while you were off hoity-toity, with the upper echelon of society watching tennis, I was slumming it at our local brewery, Broken Goblet, hanging out with Lauren and a couple friends, and we had a good time while we were there. And we spent the whole rest of the weekend doing absolutely nothing. It's a holiday weekend, so made sure we did absolutely nothing. Other than I did get out and I did see a lot and I did do some podcasting. So you definitely want to check out Rabbit Ears podcast when the episode for Boy Meets World comes out, because I was on there with Ashley doing that. And we did our Podfix Fantasy League draft this week. We did live stream that. That was an absolute shit show, as all of our live streams always are. It's great fun, but a shit show nonetheless. But there will be an actual edited episode that will come out, so make sure that you follow the Podfix website, www.podfixnetwork.com, or just follow on Twitter at Podfix. But I'm pretty solid about my team. I feel pretty good about it. I got a lot of shit because I drafted a quarterback first. Like, I got a ton of fucking shit. And everybody was flipping the fuck out. Luckily, someone else made an equally bad draft like later on, but I didn't see it as a bad draft. I always want to get the
You never know.
I always want to get the quarterback I want first, because the fact is, if you get a good quarterback and they stay healthy all year, they touch the ball more, and more so than any receiver and any running back. Running backs, receivers, they go hot and cold a lot. Or
injured.
They get injured a lot. Whereas if I can solidify the quarterback that I want first, I make sure that I do that right off the bat. So they might see it as I wasted my I was number 2 to draft, so out of 10. So they all saw it as I wasted a draft pick.
We shall see.
Yeah.
You'll be the last man standing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The thing about it is, I really don't care that much. The thing I like about
that's the best part. You have the winning of a hand right there, because usually the people that don't take it as serious as the other ones don't overthink things. Overplay things. Don't.
So I mean, I look at the numbers. I watch all the ESPN stuff. I'll watch the games and everything like that, and I get into that. But to me, like, as much as I enjoy watching football, that's more like, it's like playing a video game for me. It's like playing an RPG, and I'm setting my stats in an RPG.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about fantasy football. It's a video game, and when I play it is when I watch on Sunday, and I'm playing it and I'm messing with my lineup and stuff like that. That's the thing I like about fantasy football.
I hear you. That makes sense. So
we'll see how I fare. There will be episodes every week of our Podfix Fantasy League where we'll talk about football and stuff like that. Podfix is branching out. We're not just movies anymore.
Fantasy football.
Yeah. So let's get into what we watched, Jay. What did you watch this week?
I got into a bunch of great movies revisiting on DVD that I have at my house, and really just wanted to...
Everyone, just take a second.
I was not in the mood to
take a second.
Yes.
He said DVD.
Yes, that's true. I refuse.
But, I mean, to be fair, it's not a dead technology. It should be.
Yeah, thank God.
It's not.
I'm dreading the day when I have to start buying Blu-rays.
You won't have to worry about that, because before that day comes, all digital will come before you have to buy all Blu-rays.
Good. So, Hell or Highwater. Revisited that one and reaffirmed how much I adore that good old modern day Western. You know, it was a great movie set in Texas, and the performances are fantastic all around, and actually made me really appreciate the relationships between Ben Foster, Chris Pine as brothers, and then also as police partners, Gil Birmingham, who I recently just saw in Wind River, who was fantastic. He was great in this movie as well, but also Jeff Bridges. And seeing their relationship, and especially how Jeff Bridges, you know, when I don't want to spoil it, but like,
God, sorry, I'm taking a sip of a beer I hadn't had before for the first time. And it is single cut beersmiths from Queens, New York. And this is the Weird and Gilly IPA. It's 6.6 alcohol per volume. It's 99 IBUs, and it tastes like the world's like most gorgeous hot plant just walked up and jerked off in my mouth. It's amazing. It's so good. Anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Dave's looking so flushed and sweaty right now. Oh my god,
getting all hot and bothered, just stirring in my pants.
Like that beer just went down and tickled your balls or something.
But please continue talking about Highwater, a movie we talked about just 4 months ago on our show.
Yes, I am done talking about that. And Logan, the second time I ever watched Logan. Honestly, I haven't seen it since the theaters.
Did you watch the black and white version?
I did not.
Yeah, because you didn't buy the Blu-ray, motherfucker. That's right. How you can watch the black and white.
That's right. I like to tease myself. So the third time I watched Logan, it will be in black and white. Now, as you guys know, the first time I watched it, I did like the movie, but I just wasn't crazy about it for some odd reason, and it didn't.
I had my problems with it too.
It didn't.
This is an even more recent movie that we talked about, but my problems with it were mainly the It just seemed like because they had an R rating, they like instead of using it to show the violence and of the character and like get deep into that aspect of the character, they used a lot of fucks on Patrick Stewart. That seemed a little odd,
and it got a little plotting.
Definitely got plotting
throughout the middle part there, and ultimately, I think it worked. The movie I did enjoy as a whole a lot better the second time around. I'd probably give it a B+ now. I don't remember what I gave it before, but I did enjoy the movie, and I really enjoyed the acting. I thought it was a little bit more true. I thought some of the dialogue was a little over the top, but what do you expect? Ex Machina, revisited that one. That was a movie that you and I both loved. It's a great sleeper, under the radar, sci-fi, like classic almost to me.
I don't think it's that under the radar anymore. I think a lot of people
maybe not so much anymore, but like at the time, it kind of was that year, and it came out, I think, in the summertime. Maybe it was a weird
late summer 2015.
It was a weird release date.
It definitely wasn't going. It definitely was just before Oscar runs. Like it definitely wasn't running for any type of Oscar.
It did not make that good at box office.
I don't think they wanted to campaign for it. I don't think they wanted to put the money into campaigning.
They weren't
for
confident with it for some reason. But
it's amazing.
It's an amazing movie. Hats off to Alicia Vikander. I thought, looking back on that, her performance is just really pretty marvelous in that.
She did get a Best Supporting Actress nod for that, didn't she? Or was that
It was in the other role.
It was the Danish Girl. That's right.
Danish Girl.
Fuck
and I never saw the Danish Girl, but from what I hear, some people actually thought that she had a better performance in Ex Machina. Yeah, or maybe they just enjoyed the movie
I think
more.
she had I enjoy that movie more than the Danish Girl. I didn't like the Danish Girl. It's not my type of film. But Domhnall Gleeson is really good in it, but the person who really shines is Oscar Isaac.
Yes.
He just absolutely shines.
Yes,
like
completely shines.
It's one of his best roles.
It really is. He completely owned that character and embodied it full-heartedly. I mean, you could just see him as that person, and see how his behavior and how brilliant he is, and how lonely and how self-loathing he is, as well.
So this might be the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe 9th or 10th time that we've recommended that people see Ex Machina. But get the fuck out there and see that movie. It's streaming on Amazon Prime right now.
It is. And finally, I chose to watch this now, relatively a month before the release date, Blade Runner: The Final Cut.
Yeah, because last time you watched the theatrical cut or something, I gave you shit.
Director's cut, I think?
Yes, which is not actually the director's cut. That is not Ridley Scott's cut. That is one.
I love this cut. The final cut is pretty much perfect to me.
Much better.
Especially my perspective.
They also went back in and they didn't change anything like they did for special editions like Star Wars or anything like that. But they did not recolorize either. Like, how do I put it? They did update the quality of the visuals. Yeah. Which especially
this one I actually bought on iTunes, so it's like on my iPhone. So I didn't get the DVD. I just
but you're getting it 1080p and you're getting it in high resolution and stuff like that.
It was cool seeing it. Like
not the best resolution, but really high resolution. And I think the best scene from the director's cut, from the final cut, that really shines from that redone visuals that they did is the scene with Ruger Hauer on the roof. It's just absolute, like the way that is lit is just so So amazing.
Yeah.
I love that scene. In the rain, and fuck, dude, when you
the dialogue was gorgeous, and seeing his platinum blonde hair in the rain, and you know, just seeing Harrison Ford just broken down and just exhausted and just completely in fear and stupefied and amazed at what's going on.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not a film you can revisit often, though. Like,
no,
the more you revisit it,
but I didn't want to watch it too close to the release of the follow up. So, you know, I wanted to give it a little bit of breathing room, and I'm happy I did. I'm happy I did, because I just saw the director's cut, you know, somewhat recently, and maybe like a year or so ago, and so I enjoyed that. But yeah, so I saw a lot of good films. I just wasn't in the mood to watch new movies for some reason, other than my indie darling of the week. So how about you, Dave?
In a complete role reversal, I have gone out and seen a ton of new movies this week. So I'll just start with, me and Lauren watched the Hitman's Bodyguard. We know that because of the low box office, this has been number one, I believe, 3 weeks now. 3 weeks now.
All like pretty much 20 million and under. I think.
Oh yeah. No, it's not doing gangbusters.
No,
there's never going to be a sequel to it.
There's nothing out.
No, but there's nothing else out.
But you know what? I have a weird feeling that I might really like this movie.
So I
enjoy it.
So I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I think this is one of the best things I've seen Samuel L. Jackson do in a long time. Like he's not overacting like he was in what was that movie with
Kingsman?
No, I didn't mind him in Kingsman. I actually enjoyed the list and stuff like that, you know. But Mrs. Pettigrew's Home for Imaginary Children. He was in that. He was overacting in that like crazy.
Yeah, he had the dentures in, and
I just wasn't crazy about
the
that,
white eyes, and
there hasn't been a lot that Sam Jackson's done in a while that I've really really enjoyed.
He's a fellow golfer. He wants to get his golf in.
I guess Hateful Eight was Hateful Eight was the last thing I saw him in that I really enjoyed him in, and then seeing him in this, I enjoyed him more than I enjoyed Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds was just Ryan Reynoldsing it.
Well, that's what I heard. They're both kind of playing heightened versions of themselves.
Yeah, and
which is fine. And I think it fits in that movie, right? It would fit in that role.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's the action is very much like modern Bond, Bourne type action with this comedy filter run through it and stuff like that.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it on HBO.
Yeah, I mean that's
not
really
in theaters, but on TV.
That's really what I'm getting to. Definitely, don't waste the money seeing it in the theaters. I mean, that's for sure. It's only doing well right now because of the current drought. I mean, that's the only reason the movies that I watched this week I watched because I was literally drowning. I mean, it's such a barren wasteland for films that there's just nothing to see. But one of the things I did like about it is they do add some depth to these two characters that I wasn't really expecting. And they really get into like this duality of their roles where one is an assassin who is hired by bad people to kill more bad people. And the other one is a bodyguard who pretty much protects bad people, but still saves lives. So it's like this, they kind of have like this thing with each other where it's like, you kill people for a living. He's like, you're evil. And he's like, yeah, but you protect the bad people that I kill. So, like who's more evil, me or you? I actually really like how they flipped it like that a little bit.
It's interesting.
The other film that I watched, I'm not going to grade any of these, by the way, because they're all going to be C or lower. So, but just know that I got some enjoyment out of them. Anabelle Creation. I didn't really get that much enjoyment out of this one. So I was actually expecting a good bit because people have been talking about this horror movie. It's in the Conjuring universe and all that stuff. I love The Conjuring 1, The Conjuring 2. Me and Lauren, we rewatched them this weekend. I fucking absolutely love Patrick Wilson in them. I think that, those are really well done suspense films. They build suspense really, really well. The Anabelle movies don't do that at all. It's just, I already know that the doll is evil, so the second someone discovers the doll, I know shit's about to start popping. This film just really
just cash grab horror film, right?
Yeah, but my problem is even critics are giving it decent scores, and I guess decent scores against the other horror films that might have come out this year, or decent scores against the other Anabelle film. Is it better than the?
That happens sometimes, but
Yeah.
but as of late, the last few years, we've had good horror movies come out for the most part.
Is it bad? No. If you want to waste
But
a
as far as
Friday night
this year, maybe it's
if you want to waste a Friday night sitting at home and watch this movie, yeah, more power to you. If you want to waste, $20-$25 to go out and see it in the theater, I mean, you're going to feel robbed. I mean, that's for sure. It's just not that good. C-, like at best. But also it's the origin of the character, but they already did an origin of the character. And I checked with Lauren. We tried to go through the timeline of everything, and it does kind of match up. But the fact is, it's needless. It adds nothing to the story. It adds nothing to the greater story of The Conjuring. I was watching it, and I just decided to, when we got out of the theater, I Googled, when's The Conjuring 3 coming out? That's all I care about. When's The Conjuring 3 coming out? Because I really don't give a flying fuck about any more Anabelle films, and I hope they're done. Something else that I watched this week was Little Evil. This is the Netflix original movie that started on Netflix this week. That stars Adam Scott and Evangeline Lilly. And she still got it. She's still smoking.
awesome.
Yeah. So if you don't know what this is kind of like a mock of Omen. Adam Scott marries a woman. She has a son. Turns out the son is pure evil, and it's off his trials and tribulations of trying to be a good stepdad while dealing with the fact that the stepson is pure evil and has a demonic lineage, we'll say. But it actually gets touching. I actually enjoy it in spots. I definitely liked it more than I liked Annabelle Creation. That's for sure. It's got no depth to it whatsoever. It's completely on the surface. If they made this like a Fox sitcom like this, I think I would buy into that sitcom. I think I would check it out. As a 2-hour-long movie, though, it's enjoyable for what it is. It's a Netflix original. They're really not knocking it out of the park with their Netflix originals, are they? I know
not lately.
I know War Machine or whatever that one was. That did pretty well with Brad Pitt with some critical acclaim.
Not that much though.
I really want them to kind of do like what Amazon's doing a little bit. Even though
did you see Okja?
No, I didn't watch that one yet.
Okay, so that's the one that's really you get a lot of the critical acclaim from. It's a very arty movie.
Okay.
So I think it's worth checking out. Probably.
I'm kind of like waiting for. I don't know. I'm waiting for something to really wow me for Netflix. And I'm not talking about their original series. Daredevil already wowed me. I'm sure some original series are gonna wow me from time to time. Narcos is really good. Orange is the New Black is really great. I'm waiting for that movie that they do that wows me. I mean, that Amazon Prime has Gleason. They have Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, that's Amazon.
That's what I'm talking about. Amazon
I'm sorry.
Right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Stop zoning out. Stay with the conversation, Jay. Stay here in the moment.
Well, I was actually thinking about. I knew there was some kind of movie coming out later on this year that Netflix had, but I couldn't remember the name of it.
I know that Netflix and Swill, which is a Podfix bro podcast of ours, said that What Happened on Monday is that type of movie. I just didn't get around to seeing it this weekend, so maybe I'll watch that and report on that next week.
Cool.
But yeah, What Happened on Monday is supposed to be really, really good. So here's hoping that it is. And Jay, drum roll, the final film that me and Lauren took the time to watch. Stephen King's It from 1990.
Okay.
So I haven't
perfect timing.
I haven't seen this film. That's why we watched it. We are going on Thursday night, opening night, to see it. You and I will have our first, mini review episode in the first time in a good long while for it. We are going on Thursday night. We are going to see it. It's going to be the first mini-sode review that you and I have had in quite some time, because as we said, it's just been a drought as far as movies go. And we wanted to revisit the original. She's never seen it, and I haven't seen it since probably 1993.
Yeah, that's around the time when I saw it as well. I guess I was around 10 years old or so.
100% honest. It does not hold up. It just absolutely doesn't. It is so Sunday night movie. It is so it is just.
See, I was never a fan of clowns, and I remember being really creeped out by it, but I don't remember exactly
The
movie
dialogue,
in clarity.
Jay, the dialogue's not just bad; it's fucking laughable.
Oh, jeez.
It's laughable. I've seen John Ritter in some bad shit, but I've never seen John Ritter act as bad as he did in this. And it's just okay, I guess. It's just, but what I did find myself doing was watching it and going like, man, I kind of can't wait for some of these cool scenes to be done with like a budget, like to be done with a budget and to be directed by an actual director and to have actual actors
with
in
passion behind it. And it looks like we have one coming up this Friday.
Absolutely. It's also 3 hours long, 3.5 hours long. It's pretty long. It's got some legs on it. So it also wears on you a little bit. And obviously we know. So we know that the It coming out has a rather long runtime. It's over 2 hours. It's 135 minutes. But one thing that like I was noticing was that in the cast, there's no one listed as like older Bill. You know, there's no one listed as like older Georgie. Georgie dies. Spoilers if you didn't watch the original one. I'll probably cut that out. But I mean, the older version of them is not like none of them are listed on IMDb. So they're either hiding the fact that they'll do the older versions of them and come back, or this story will end where the kids defeat the creature for the first time. And then we get a sequel with them all when they're older, which I kind of dig. I mean, it kind of means like this is getting some great buzz. So if it is really successful, which it's all signs are pointing to, it will be.
The opening weekend box office is predicted to be pretty high.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it'll be the only like brick of gold.
Well, right. I mean, I'm talking like 55 million plus. So like,
because no one's going out there to see anything because there ain't shit.
But the marketing
out
material
there
is fantastic, and it does it look really scary.
We'll all float on Thursday night.
Yeah, we're going to buy our tickets early. I'll tell you.
I already bought mine. I'm already going on Thursday.
Did you buy mine?
No, I didn't buy you one. Yeah, because I won't be around this weekend, so me and Lauren had to make an appointment to go see it on Thursday night because we will have my daughter on Friday night. I will be going away probably Sunday night into Monday, and that will last almost 2 weeks. So yeah, we had to buy the tickets. So we bought the tickets. You're on your own, pal. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Hopefully my movie pass will finally come in the mail.
Yeah.
And they actually sent me an email saying that because of the numbers of subscriptions that came flooding in, they weren't really completely prepared for that. Right. So it got delayed.
Wes from Via VHS, who signed up probably a couple days before you did, just got his movie pass MasterCard in the mail. So
okay, so I should get mine in a couple days.
Yours is coming,
hopefully before Thursday.
Fingers crossed. If not, you'll plunk down the couple.
Oh, I will
to see it. You can see it on Friday night. You can see it on Saturday morning if you're off. You will have the time, and we will definitely have a full review of
Absolutely.
it. And I'm chomping at the bit because it's. Just watching the original one, I was like, "Fuck, they're definitely gonna do better than that."
It's fun to be excited for a movie again in theaters because like we had a great early summer. We had a lot of good stuff in the late spring, early summer. A lot of good movies, a lot of interesting movies that we were excited to see. And then over the last month or so, it's pretty much been nothing.
You know what else is really dope? Like we're getting It, which is in the vein of like Stranger Things we talked about before.
Yes.
It's a nice way to whet our appetite, and then we only have to wait a month for Stranger Things after
Absolutely.
that, which is great. So coming up next, we are going to go deep inside Jay's hole. I mean, indie corner. Oh, Jay, I forgot to tell you.
Not that hole, yo.
Jay, I forgot to tell you what my fantasy football name is.
Oh, boy. Tell me.
Guzzling gobs of gosling jizz.
Oh my god! I'm surprised you used that for your name, man. Didn't save that for me or something like that. As like
there's a longer title, but I couldn't fit it all in there. It was ooey. It was
pretty brilliant.
It was ooey gooey gobs of gosling jizz running down Jay's chin. But I couldn't fit that. That was too many characters.
Sorry, Dave's dad again for that visual at 6 a.m. In the morning.
I had to shorten it. They asked me to change the name. I'll think about it. I just like the idea of having to go on that
Oh my god!
Podfix football chat, and they have to announce
Every
me
week
as ooey gooey gobs of Gosling Jizz.
It's so good.
There's some other good team names, but they're all
Nothing beats that. Nothing beats
not
that.
in my mind. So coming up next, we're gonna go deep inside of Jay's indie corner. He's gonna pour himself a bourbon neat. He's gonna smack his suspenders against his shoulders, make sure that he's wearing them just tight enough. He's gonna put on his ironic mustache, wear his square frame glasses, drink his mocha latte with 2% skim milk, and he's gonna hit on your girlfriend.
With yoga pants on.
So stay tuned. Welcome back to Jay's Indie Corner. He's already finished Inside Your Girlfriend, and then he made her watch his latest indie film, and she's left him, but he gave her the best gift of all, his herpes.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
Jay, what indie film do you have for us this week?
One of my favorites, one of my favorite things to do in pastime is reading Diaries of Teenage Girls. No. It's called The Diary of a Teenage Girl, Dave. Give me your synopsis.
I'm going to go real easy with this one. Obviously, this is just the most vapid, shallow movie that's ever been made by the Lifetime Network. I'm going to go with that. Where this teenage girl, I mean, she just writes about, oh my God, fucking Trisha's such a fucking bitch. And then she talks about all the fucking hot guys that she's into and stuff like that. She's the mean girl. So like she writes all the mean things. And then her diary gets out and everybody posts her diary online and for everyone else to see. And everyone finds out what a cruel, terrible, evil human being she is. And then she has to earn the respect of her peers back. And she does it by befriending the nerdy kids. And when she befriends the nerdy kids, she finds out that popularity is not all it's meant to be.
This movie sounds familiar.
But wait, it's also a Lifetime movie, so I forgot. She gets raped, murdered, thrown in a ditch, and...
Thank you. That sounds a little bit more interesting. Okay.
She gets raped, murdered, thrown into a ditch. Why am I laughing about that? It's terrible. Why would I say that? It's awful.
I don't know.
And
I know we're getting into the Halloween season almost.
And then the nerdy kids that she befriended then investigate her death and come and find her killer. It was Willie the janitor. Grease me up, woman! Do not touch. Willie. Good advice.
Okay, so this movie is a 2015 coming-of-age film that obviously, follows a young girl. I think she's 15 years old, Minnie, and she's very artistic, and she's coming to terms with her own sexuality. The newcomer actress who plays her, Belle Powley, did a brilliant job. I really liked her in it. First role she's ever done. Set in 1976 San Francisco. How about that time period, huh? Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Wasn't it the same time period
time.
as Milk, right?
Yes, around that time, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
With a really cool cinematography that's pretty spot on, especially with the production design. I was really impressed with that, especially with the indie film. They did a really good job with it, and they had some interesting, cityscapes with the time period pretty spot on, I thought, as well. And I think they did a lot of good things with a lot of bang for their buck.
Awesome.
So Minnie, she lives with her younger sister and mother, played by Kristen Wiig, who is an excessive partier. She dates a lot, this lazy guy played by Alexander Skarsgård, and she's just like not the greatest mother, but at the same time kind of authentic from what you would predict a mother could be, a younger mother who's single in the 70s would be like, what I'm saying? Well, like, these, new drugs are on the scene, everybody's kind of laid back and chilling and partying, and, she's just kind of in and out of little small-time jobs. So Minnie actually begins having a sexual relationship with her mother's boyfriend, with Alex Skarsgård.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not a bad guy to have a relationship with because, come on. He is.
Come on. Yeah, I know.
He was him shirtless was the only thing to watch in Tarzan.
Right. But he has a fucking awesome mustache in this movie.
Does he? Oh man, and he's
grew it himself.
And he's sleeping with a 15-year-old kid, so he has the perfect perv stash.
He does. He does.
And he was in that terrible HBO show, True Blood, but he was in the better HBO show, the one where all the women...
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. Yeah, good job.
Yeah. No, he was good in that movie, too. Yeah, he played an abusive husband to Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And that was definitely an interesting... husband and wife scenario. I thought probably the most interesting.
I think they all had
series.
Interesting relationships.
That was my most intriguing one.
Adam Scott and Reese Witherspoon had
that was the most realistic one.
Yeah,
that was the most realistic one. Yes, I really enjoyed that one as well. Especially towards the end when finally Adam Scott came out and grew some balls. But all
right, apology, sir. I didn't mean to derail you too much.
No, it's fine. I like that show. But you see how their love affair really affects their lives in an honest and touching way, because it's not done in a cliche, creepy kind of way. You can see how they are both, mostly Alex's character, but how he's conflicted with it, but
Jay,
they're both really drawn to each other.
Is she still 15 when he sleeps with her?
Yes.
Then it's creepy. Jay, what is with you, man?
I'm just saying.
Last week you had Robert Pattinson making out with a 16-year-old girl. Stop it with these movies.
Stop it.
Stop.
I'm telling you what
Get right with God.
I'm telling you what the movie portrayed.
Mama Short is crying right now.
I'm just saying.
Stop watching these movies.
I'm just...
Can everyone now see why I'm not into indie films? Because they perpetuate the worst parts of society.
This is how you can learn to...
Learn to what? Seduce a 15-year-old? No. Are you taking notes to watch these movies? Is that what you're doing, you sick son of a bitch? Jesus Christ. No. Someone get this guy on a watch list, for Christ's sakes.
No, please don't.
Jay does not advocate the molestation of children. He finds sexual predators fascinating.
No, I'm just saying that it's a fucked up love story that shouldn't happen. But they portray it in an interesting way where you do have that conflicted feeling. You forget that they are in a fucked up situation.
But what if you take the opposite of that? What if you take the flip side of that and you say he groomed her, because that's what pedophiles do. They groom kids into feeling like they are in some sort of real relationship. So I mean, you could take the flip of that and say he is just a really successful pedophile.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think they did a good job with that in this movie, where they kind of went back and forth. She was pursuing him pretty hard.
Yeah, happened real organically, did it?
Well, you'll have to see this movie.
I don't want to. I don't want to, Jay.
Another indie movie that Dave does not recommend. Everybody,
based on subject matter alone.
Yes. But I'm sure some of the listeners out there are checking out my stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. So it really doesn't want you to portray the relationship as being like a predator / victim thing, even though obviously the relationship is wrong on so many levels. But the writer-director, Marielle Heller, adapted this story from a graphic novel / diary of sorts. And, I'm really looking forward to seeing what she has up her sleeve next, because I think she's a talent out there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way you describe it, it does sound like it's a very interesting story.
And it is. Aside. But like I said, they wouldn't have these kind of actors play in this movie if they didn't think the script was strong, and the director and writer had a really strong grasp on this material, and I thought she delivered a good film. Obviously, the subject matter is what it is, but
please tell me he goes to jail at the end, at least. I mean, no spoilers, but off air, let me know that there's at least some silver lining or something where as
I'll just say this: it's a coming of age tale.
Oh my God. Are you emphasizing that coming on purpose, or is that just something you did? I can't tell.
There is no ejaculation in this movie.
Jay, you are
I know I've recommended some movies out there before.
The past 6 or 7 fucking indie films have all involved period blood,
Jesus,
unrequited sex, or pedophilia in some way. All of them, Jay. All of them.
Well, I'm trying to make up for Jay's sexy time being
You're
dismantled.
Not, you're not. You're not doing a good job. You're painting yourself into a corner. You're stuck there. Oh man. So I guess check this one out.
Yes, the Diary of a Teenage Girl.
If you want to. I don't recommend it. I've never seen it, so I mean you have to take Jay's word on it.
Certainly flew under the radar. Yeah.
So, coming up next, me and Jay got our Oktoberfest beers to go over, and for the first time ever on the show, we're going to start doing beers a little bit differently. We're going to start spotlighting a scene from a film that involves some sort of drunkery, whether it's in a drama, whether it's in a comedy, however it pans out. Me and Jay are going to just talk about some of our favorite drunk scenes in films while we talk about the beers that we were drinking, so stay tuned. Welcome to the beer segment. We're going to try something new with the beer segment this week. We are, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start bringing up great scenes in films that involve people being drunk.
Yeah.
And since, we're doing Oktoberfest and we're talking Oktoberfest beers, I feel it's only appropriate to talk about one of my favorite drunk scenes in one of my favorite movies that's about drinking beer, Beerfest. Broken Lizard's Beerfest.
Exactly. Why not?
Their follow-up film to Super Troopers, which to me, at times, Beerfest is funnier than Super Troopers. I love them both. I love these films. But the drunk scene we're talking about is when Barry, the male prostitute... How much for an HJ? How much for a BJ? You want a ZJ? Oh, what's a ZJ? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. He's obviously the drunk asshole, and the way the scene starts out is they're playing asshole, and he loses the game, and they tell him, bite this tomato, asshole, and do a dance, asshole, and he's wearing the beer case on top of his head with asshole written on it, and in the background you hear Jungle Boogie, doodaloo, doodaloo, Jungle Boogie, break it down. Oh. Anyway.
Ooh. Looking good, Barry.
Feel the funk, yo.
Looking good, you handsome motherfucker. Ho, ho, ho. We gotta get you out of those wet clothes and into a dry martini.
What?
I said, oh, martini?
Get away from me.
2 shots, please. How about a little sex on the beach?
Oh, I think my place is closer. You wanna get out of here?
Are you looking for a little slap and tickle?
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Barry, what are you doing?
You kidding me? She's hot as hell. Looking for a little slap and pickle.
You sure you want to do this, man? You're drunk.
I'm drunk. You're drunk. Everybody's drunk. You want to get out of here?
Looking for a little slap and tickle.
Something like that. Oh, I think I dropped my monkey.
How many licks does it take to get to the center? I'm gonna rock your world.
Oh, I am going to break your dick off.
Suck 'em. Oh, lick 'em clean, Daddy.
Suck 'em, lick 'em clean. Yes, suck 'em.
Now don't peek.
Quit squirming.
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, you dirty motherfucker, right?
Come on. I knew it the whole time.
it goes through this scene where he's seeing himself as like this really suave, dapper, like 70s dressed guy, and he is hitting on this absolute smoking hot chick,
bombshell,
and
everything is going great. Yeah. They're really flirtatious.
Yeah.
And they're saying some kinky, naughty things to each other that are just
and he takes
buttering their own biscuits up and.
He takes her to the bathroom, and as he's going into the bathroom, his friends say, "Dude, are you all right? What are you doing?" And he's like, I got this. And like it flashes to him, he's out of the dapper outfit and he's back into like
real life mode.
And it's a scene that is like all about like how you remember drunk sex and what really happens with drunk sex. So
and how you think you looked or acting, but what you really were doing and what you really looked and acting.
It was pretty much just thrusting crazy. Like a fish on a dock.
Oh my god! Yeah.
So it goes through all these like real sexy scenes with Barry and this beautiful woman, and then they flash back to the scenes as it actually happened, and the beautiful woman was indeed Monique. And his memory of everything is this smooth, suave, like, you know, like he knew exactly what to say. He's like, oh, I dropped my monkey. And he goes down and he starts eating her out, and she's making porn star noises. But in reality, they flash to Monique, and she's just like, oh, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the chair? And then they have the scene where he's banging her on the bed, and she's riding on top, and he's in his mind she's making those porn star noises, but really it's Monique just going, "I'm gonna break your dick off." and when she orgasms,
she just puts like a mask over his eyes.
Yes.
And then in reality, she has like a clear plastic bag over his whole head, and he's like suffocating.
Autoerotic asphyxiation. Yeah. And then he also remembers sucking on her fingers and like kissing her neck and stuff, but in reality he was basically deep throating her foot. And then of course when she climaxes, like in his mind, she's ravishingly beautiful as she climaxes, but in reality it's Monique just grabbing the headboard and just shaking it, and she's like, oh! I absolutely love it. And then of course as it ends, it pans out and Barry looks at the camera and goes, come on, I knew the whole time.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Beerfest is a fucking fantastic movie. I love watching it. But there's a lot of awesome drunk scenes in that film because it is a film about drinking beer. But that's the one that I've always loved the song. I've always loved.
Oh, it's a great sequence. They did a great job with it. It's so funny, and it's classic because everybody can relate to it because everyone's kind of had that kind of experience before.
All right, Jay, I'll go first with my beer, the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, which is brewed in collaboration with Brauhaus Miltenberger. They actually collaborated with a honest-to-goodness German craft brewery to get this done, to give it the most authentic German Beerfest.
Goddamn right.
Actually, it says Festbier.
Festbier.
Festbier. You drink Festbier with your Das Boot. It is 6.1% alcohol per volume, and they are claiming that this is a bold, flavorful amber lager that is slightly hopped and is extremely light and crisp with deep layers of rich malt notes.
It's pretty accurate, you know. I think it has a little bit more of a hop to it.
And yeah, I'm not gonna lie. They're not. It sounds really hoity-toity. It sounds like they're tooting their own horn a whole lot, but they should. It's really good. This is one of the best Oktoberfests I've had so far this year. I really enjoy it. It is everything they say. It does have some complex malt notes. It has a little bit of like that. Has a little bit of a dark flavor. Very little bit. And that's only up front. On the back end, you get almost sort of like a lemon zest type, like really nice like note, and they may have used, to get like kind of like that lemony flavor, they may have used either lemongrass, or they might have used lemon hops. So they don't really go into detail with it, but all that really matters is it's beautiful, amber colored, light and crisp on flavor, and has an absolute amazing finish. And I'm giving it as far as Oktoberfest go, I'm giving it a 4.5. I like this a lot.
No, I'm up there with you. I mean, I really like it a lot. It's definitely different. It doesn't have those usual type of Oktoberfest malt kind of tones and flavors that are a little heavy, usually, and
some of the
or
ones,
even caramel. There's nothing like that in there.
The ones we had last week didn't balance themselves enough between those light and dark notes.
Exactly.
This one, far and wide, does it better than the ones we had last week for sure.
So I have myself the Left Hand Brewing Company's Oktoberfest. It's a Marzen lager. Now this one is a it just has a little bit more of that drier, like kind of like a toasty malt flavor to it. A little bit of a spice, nothing too crazy, but it has this like lingering taste at the finish. It just doesn't really sit well with me.
It definitely has a toasted malt finish.
Yes, it does, and it's 6.6 ABVs, but it doesn't have that kind of burning alcohol flavor, but it does have a little bit more of that classical Oktoberfest taste to it. But it just doesn't sit well with me at the end, and I'm going to grade it as relatively on the low side for me. It's 2.5 for me, so I think it's pretty much in the middle of the road, but definitely a little bit more on the lower end of the spectrum for Oktoberfest for me.
Left Hand,
I've had plenty more that are a lot better than this.
Yeah, Left Hand's up and down. Like you have the Left Hand Sawtooth, which is a really good ale. So most of their IPAs are misses for me. They're a hit or miss type of brewery.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It keeps things interesting.
Absolutely.
But you can absolutely check us out on Untappd and, follow us on what we're drinking this fall. And, I know myself, I'm uploading some Oktoberfest beers that I've been starting to drink a little bit lately. So tune into that.
Absolutely. So coming up next, me and Jay are going to run down the news that we have for you this week. One of the things, a lot of them tie into some of the stuff we talked about last week. Well, one of mine, just a little bit. It gives us an idea of a direction that they're going with. So stay tuned for that. And now it's time for the news. Jay, what kind of motherfucking news stories you got rolling around in your head?
Well, we have a nice little interesting rom-com, little dark rom-com starring Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. So I think apparently they're just going to be depressives, probably alcoholics, going to a wedding, and they just sort of bond over each other's, I guess, dry, sarcastic, miserable... like Little J with some other girl. I don't know. That's what I feel like. I feel like Keanu Reeves is going to be playing, like
so if
Little J.
If you don't know who we're talking about, Little J is a mutual friend of mine and Jay's, more so of Jay. He's had a rough go of things lately,
yes.
We'll say. We won't get into specifics, but he is absolutely a depressed type of guy. And if you think me and Jay drink too much or a lot, Little J
puts us to shame.
Yeah. Although he did sleep with his first woman for the first time, what was it, like 3 years ago? He started putting himself out there.
Something like that.
Yeah, now he takes ladies home and he has the whole get out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's like acting like a 21-year-old now and,
in his 30s.
Whatever. Go for it.
All right, but anyway, this movie.
So I mean, I'm actually kind of intrigued. I mean, seeing Winona Ryder in something like this is interesting. I think it fits. Like when I first saw the headlines, I was like, wait a minute, what? Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. I'm like, Winona Ryder has those crazy eyes still going on right now. And it just seemed like a weird odd match. And then I read into it a little bit, and they said it was going to be a little bit more on the darker realm, and they're going to be playing like these kind of miserable depressives, and they kind of meet together and they kind of form a mutual bond, and they kind of, I guess, fall in love. So I feel like this could be an interesting winning formula.
I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it because, like, Winona Ryder, she was the worst part of Stranger Things. Like, she was her acting chops.
It was pretty over the top.
Fucking awful. I mean, when you have 11-year-old kids who never acted in anything in their lives and they're doing better than Winona Ryder is. Maybe she was given the wrong direction by the directors. I don't know, but
well, a lot of it was her being by herself, acting crazy, and paranoid, and
right. And before
it's hard
that,
to say. It's hard
before
to say.
that, I hadn't seen her in anything decent since
been a long time.
since the Iceman in 2012. Let's say.
Yeah.
And she wasn't even that big of a role.
No, not a long role.
So I mean, like, I get worried, is what I'm saying. Like, you know, when you put. I also get worried
initially, but
I also get worried with Keanu Reeves. Man, it's not like he's known for now. I know you, and I know your indie films. I know he does fucking fantastic work on those indie films and stuff like that. But he's not really known for like big blockbusters. It's only recently with like John Wick that he's kind of allowed himself to come back to big blockbuster films since The Matrix.
I have a weird feeling,
and even two of them
this
sucked.
is going to have like an indie feel to it. I don't think this is going to be like a big, $40 million like rom-com kind of thing. Like this Reese Witherspoon trash Nancy Meyers film coming out this weekend.
What's the name of the film?
Oh, I don't know. There's no announcement yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's weird.
For the title. No title. I mean, are you talking about the Keanu Reeves one?
Oh, yeah. It's called Destination Wedding.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
So asking you about. It's directed by Victor Levin. And he's not known for a whole lot. He's mainly a producer and a writer. So I think you're right. This is probably going to be his first directorial debut. He's probably going to write the film himself. But just looking through his writing credits, he's written on Mad Men. But really, dude, I mean, when it comes to the type of films he's done, you thinking this is going to be type of an indie film, he's done Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, Jay. He was a writer on the TV series Mad About You. Larry Sanders Show. Jay, this is not a rom-com, man. I mean, this is straight up rom-com. Jay, this is not an indie film. I'm sorry. This is not an indie film. Just looking at this dude's body of work.
Yeah, I know, but still,
stop getting your hard-ons over Keanu Reeves.
But like,
this
I
is
feel
not
like
going to be
Keanu
good, man.
would only do this movie if it's got a solid script.
Sure about that? Didn't you talk about?
I don't know.
Didn't you talk about Knock Knock last week when we were talking about?
That's a good point. I know.
Yeah, I got you.
But he could just be, one of those guys that smokes weed with Eli Roth or something like that. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Eli Roth probably has the best drugs in L.A., so he's probably hanging out with them. And
the announcement that Keanu Reeves is doing a movie doesn't sound like news. What else you got? Yeah, you know what?
I really don't have that much other than Blade Runner 2049 having the longest runtime since, at least the longest blockbuster runtime since Interstellar.
Okay.
So
Interstellar. Wow, that was a
long movie.
That was 143, right? I want to say.
So I heard it's going to be 2 hours and 32 or 2 hours and 33 minutes without credits. So there's going to be like 11 minutes credits tacked onto that. So that's a solid runtime.
It's a long movie.
It's a long
Longer
movie.
than the original Blade Runner, which
it
at
is.
times feels wrong. I was way off. Interstellar is 169 minutes. Yeah, that's a lot. But it's well over 2.5 hours.
So it's gonna be a dense movie, and it's gonna have a lot going on to it. But obviously, Blade Runner is a slow moving film of sorts. But I think this movie is gonna have a little bit more of a longer story, than the original Blade Runner. So I feel like because of the longer story, they're gonna keep the same mood elements, and they're going to keep that, but have a longer story, and that's probably why it's going to be a longer runtime.
I'm just hoping that with the visuals of Roger Deakins and the directing of Villeneuve, that we're going to get something that is a feast for the eyes as well as like a feast for the mind, and that they will edit it in such a way that it keeps us going. I hope. I think there's more of a push now in Hollywood for shorter run times. I think long run times are running a little long. And I think something like Dunkirk really shows you that like a long run time, it doesn't need to be the norm for these tentpole movies like Blade Runner.
And I agree with certain formats. Like for the Dunkirk format, the way that film was laid out, it worked perfect for that runtime.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Remember, if they have this long of a runtime, you got to think that what was in the film before it reached the cutting room floor. This film was well over 3.5 hours before they cut it down.
Yeah.
This was like BVS level of stuff left on the cutting room floor.
And I think Warner Brothers is right behind this film, and definitely, Denis is not going to be pushed around by anybody. So he's going to have his film unveiled the way he wants it to be, whether it be Ridley Scott or Warner Brothers or not. It doesn't matter. He has final cut, I think. So I'm intrigued. It should be interesting.
Which I think is a way to go. And I think like a movie like Arrival probably had a much longer runtime, and they that was definitely cut down and condensed.
I can see that for sure.
It wound up being a pretty brilliant film in my mind. So
it was. I
do have a lot of faith in a guy. Probably not as much as you have. You fucking gargle his balls.
I do.
Yeah,
I do gargle those balls, and every morning.
All right, Jay. So news for me this week. Han Solo movie casts Paul Bettany to be in the Han Solo spinoff.
My boy Paul Bettany. I love that guy.
Are they still casting? Right? Like
so that's
what's weird to me. I'm not really reporting on the fact that Paul Bettany was cast. I'm reporting on the fact that he was cast in a film that's already in production.
I think someone got fired.
Right.
Or pushed out or something like that.
That's what I was thinking.
Michael K. something, right?
But I immediately snapped to at first. I was like, did Woody leave? Because like I feel like as far as
similar level,
it's for similar level, and as far as like structure, body goes, like maybe
middle-aged white guy,
yeah, like. But I double checked. No, he wasn't fired. But yeah, they're casting now, and this goes back to the fact that we have a director shakeup. And Paul Bettany, we know that he's on the hook with Disney. We know that he's got some sort of contract with Disney because he's currently playing the Vision, had played Jarvis.
But he's
beforehand.
very good friends with Ryan Howard, and
very
has
good
done
friends with Ron
a few
Howard.
films with him before.
Exactly. So, but I just find that odd. Now, the reason I find it odd is, like, how much is Ron Howard? Like, when they hired Ron Howard to come back, did they start it at square one?
I always thought that not square one, but I knew that he was going to have a lot more hand in this property than.
But what is absurdly a recast has to mean they're starting at square one. Almost. I mean, almost. There's obviously scenes that this actor wouldn't have been in beforehand.
There's a lot of moving parts in the big movie like this, and especially coming on board, I'm sure Ron went in saying, like, look, I'm going to come in there, I'm going to do my thing. If I feel like something's not working, I want to fix it. And that's probably what the hell he did. I don't remember the name of the guy who got pushed out. I guess he pushed him out. It wasn't working for whatever reason in the movie, and Paul Bettany is now in it. So... I think he can marriage the material pretty well. Paul's a pretty strong actor. He can usually,
Here's what I want to know. Was Clint Howard announced to be in this film back when Lord and Miller were doing it? Or did Clint Howard get added in after they said Ron Howard's going to be directed? So they just, like, IMDb has Clint Howard on there. And we know that Clint Howard makes an appearance in every Ron Howard film. So are we just assuming at this point, since there is no character name under his picture on IMDb,
maybe he's just going to be like washing a ship or something.
I hope he's one of those dudes who's just like randomly pushing buttons as like a ship explodes.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty telling that Ron Howard is not only taking over someone else's movie, he's changing what was there, and he's doing exactly what Disney wanted him to do. And don't get me wrong.
I'm fine with that. I honestly am. I really am. I know a lot of people are probably going to feel different, but I believe, especially coming on board with something that was already filming and in motion, you have to do, as a director, you have to have some balls, and you have to produce a movie the best you can.
I'm completely indifferent because I don't give a flying fuck about this movie, and everyone knows my stance on this movie if you listen to this show. I don't think that they should be doing these type of stories as their standalone stories. I think they should be doing original stories that just take place in the Star Wars universe. Keep yourself out of that type of canon. That being said, if you're going to hire somebody to replace somebody else, you need to let them make the changes that they want to make. So that way you get a full cohesive story and you get that director's singular vision. You hired him for a reason, so trust him. Ron Howard's a pretty trustworthy director. Do I think he ever does anything and knocks it out of the park? Not really.
Not lately.
No, definitely not lately. Maybe Apollo 13 is like that tentpole movie for him that you could put up there and say like is absolutely amazing, and he did a fantastic job on it. There hasn't been a whole lot that you can point to from him, but he's done a solid job on a lot of things, and that's going to be my feeling on this film. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. It's probably going to be solid. I just don't see him as like that sci-fi director, man. I just don't see him directing in this world. It's going to be something that's completely new to him.
Yeah, that is true. But he's going to have a lot of, studio.
He's got a lot of guides,
he's guides behind him, and he is an old guy. He's up there now.
I think he's probably approaching it the same way I'm approaching going to see it. Is fuck it. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I want him to just say fuck it and have a little bit of fun with it, because that's the most I can hope to have from Han Solo is a little bit of fun. Where Rogue One, I was hoping for maybe a deeper story than what they told. I enjoyed what I got. Don't get me wrong, and I really enjoyed what I got. Far more than any of the prequels and stuff like that. But when it comes to this film, I'm really hoping to maybe have Deadpool level fun with it. Like I'm hoping that we're gonna like maybe break the fourth wall a little bit. And I don't mean like panning to the camera or anything like that. But what I mean is in-universe jokes and stuff like that. I'm really hoping that we can have some fun with it, because a lot of Ron Howard films, you wouldn't label them as fun.
No.
Maybe Splash. Did he do Splash?
This would be completely different for Disney's first Star Wars movie with a lighter tone. I mean, they've pretty much taken it on a more serious side, tried to make, high quality Star Wars movies to take it out of the lighter tone fare. And if they want to bring it down to that kind of level, not in a negative way, but bring it down to like a more lighter tone,
what?
Ryan Howard's a surprising choice.
He has done fun before. He did fun when he did How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and I hated it.
So did I.
But that was a family. That was a family film, so I can't judge him on that. You have to appeal. You have to appeal to a family. What I really like is that John Kasdan and Lawrence Kasdan are writers on this, and Lawrence Kasdan, as a writer, has written on The Empire Strikes Back. So again, we're getting that same level of quality that we might have gotten with Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So that him as a writer makes me feel a little bit better about it. I know this started out as a story about Paul Bettany being cast, and we went on to a completely different rant. So moving on from that, this is one of my favorite stories. Police are warning people that the amount of creepy clown sightings are going to increase with the release of It. Gee, you think?
Not just any police. Pennsylvania police.
That's right.
Our police.
Our police are saying it. So I'm kind of fascinated. Like, have you ever been on YouTube and watched like these creepy clowns? Like,
no.
Oh, yeah, go on YouTube and watch them.
Because you know that I don't like clowns and I'm already creeped out by them.
The best is like the people's like nighttime cameras that sit outside their house. There's one where like a clown is just creepily like walking up to a house with like holding one single balloon, and he rings the bell and no one comes to the door. And then he turns and he sees the camera and he goes up to the camera and he starts like panning for the camera and stuff like that. I mean, in most cases, I'm pretty sure that they're harmless. Like, they're just doing weird shit for the sake of doing weird shit. There's one of a video of, like, someone driving down the highway, and there's one just walking with a single balloon, like, through a cemetery.
Being a clown has to be some type of weird fetish, right?
No, Jay,
I mean, being, like, a legitimate clown, like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not a clown person.
No, actually, I don't remember their name, and this gets into another story that I have. But basically, the Clown Association of America, like the people who run like those clown colleges and stuff like that, the people who are behind, like, you know, if you're part of this clown association and you are a legitimate clown, they are preparing the clowns that are currently in work right now for a loss of work after the release of It. Like, they are legitimately preparing clowns for, like, you're going to have a loss of funds coming soon because It is going to paint you in a bad picture, and kids are going to be afraid of you because terrible parents exist and they're going to let their kids watch It, and they're never going to want you at their fucking party.
The TV spots alone will do that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And that's one of those things that, like, I was watching it and I was like, I was reading that story and I was like, that's one of those things that you don't even realize, like, how media can really affect, like, can affect someone's life. You know, it's like, did Taxi Driver mean that, like, people were going to be less likely to take cabs because they assume that all of them are hiding sawed-off shotguns under their green coat?
At the time, maybe for like an hour.
Yeah, right. But then everyone in New York's like, no, we need cabs.
Yeah, we need cabs
I really
to
don't.
survive.
As long as he's not after to kill me, I'm fine.
I got a hot date tonight. I got to get to it.
But I mean, like, separation of reality. I mean, come on. Like, if you want to clown for your kid's 6th birthday party, look, find something better than a clown. Get a bounce house.
Again, that's going to last for a couple months. That's about it. It's people are going to move on.
Right. Clowns are just creepy by nature.
Until the DVD comes out.
Right. I mean, did this clown association prepare people for negative portrayal of clowns when 89 Batman came out, when, you know, Dark Knight came out, when Suicide Squad came out, anything with the Joker in it? Did they prepare people for the negative portrayal of clowns then? How about the fact that Bozo the Clown was just creepy looking all on his own without being part of a horror fucking movie?
Mm-hmm.
So I just find it interesting.
My point in general.
I just find those stories.
Every fucking clown is creepy as shit.
So police are prepared for more clowns, while Clown Association of America is prepared for people wanting less clowns.
Number one costume will be for this year's Halloween.
I hope it's not that. I'm going as.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
I'm going as Hawkeye from the Marvel comics, like not Hawkeye like Jeremy Renner. I'm going as Hawkeye from the comics, like that's. And Lauren's going as, I say Lady Hawkeye, but really she's just Hawkeye. That's what we're going for, us because I always do a comic book character. Got to be, you know. All right, and Jay, the last news story that I have, which I think is more telling about direction that they want to go with this, more so than actually who is being wanted for it. So, Warner Brothers is reportedly looking at Leonardo DiCaprio to play the Joker in the Joker origin film. Now, I'm not reporting that. I'm not sitting here reading to you that or bringing you news that Leonardo DiCaprio is the Joker or that that's who they're going after. What I'm really saying is look at the caliber of actor they're going for, and then think about the rest of his body of work in the past 10 years, and think about the tone that they are going for.
Exactly. This is exactly what I was going to get into with this news subject. Obviously, this is one of those popular things that the studios like to do. They like to throw out some names out there.
Right.
And just
they're aiming big that they can catch a decent sized fish.
But you can't get much bigger than Leo.
Right. You're here. Mark my words, 100%. Leo's not doing this.
No.
But they are aiming high and putting and allowing this news story to run so that the person they get, in their mind, they're acting in a film that maybe Leo would have had at some point, you know?
Exactly. But also,
it's telling about the tone of it as well.
But exactly. But also, I think they are now showing that maybe they feel like they have something really interesting on their hands, or at least an interesting story. And also something that is going to be a good character piece, like an actual thing that actors would want to act in and be a part of, and really do some interesting work with.
I'm also wondering if they're kind of punching Jared Leto a little bit.
They might be.
By being like, this is the caliber of story we want to tell, and this is the caliber of actor that we want, and you're not it. And all your little lampooning that you did of Suicide Squad, even though we're giving you your own Harley Quinn Joker movie, and you get to act your pants off in that all you want, blah, blah, blah.
Which is contractual, yeah.
But you could have done this if you had kept your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a little bit of a power play. I'm not saying it is. I'm just wondering if it's a little bit of a power play. Not that making this entire movie is a power play. Making the movie is about making money. But that they are aiming for like this level.
I think it is a little bit. I also feel like, you know, Jared Leto's Joker is fine.
Right.
But that's what it is. It's not like up to the Heath Ledger status here of what he was delivering.
But that's the level of actor they're trying to get.
Exactly. They want some kind of performance on that kind of level, that kind of caliber.
Right.
Something that's going to give some serious, wait for it, gravitas to the role. And
I thought you were going for legend. Wait for it, dairy.
So, and again, like I was saying before, I think that they might actually be trying to scale it down. So it's going to be a little bit more of like a $100 million to under $100 million budget. So it's going to be a little bit more character forward. and story forward and less spectacle, which is something that big name actors would want.
Right. And also, we talked about last week, we feel like doing movies like this is possibly a reaction to seeing early footage of Justice League, and it might not being so great, so they want to start branching out and doing films that take place outside of that universe.
It's very possible.
To prepare themselves for that time when maybe this whole DCEU thing doesn't pan out.
And of course, coming right off of that, you heard these rumblings of, again, with the whole Ben Affleck thing with maybe being out of Batman. And I honestly, the news circuits aren't even really fancying that rumor again.
Jay, did you go to US Open this week?
I did.
That's a white boy thing to do. You white? You Ben Affleck. you Ben Affleck this week. You could be Batman. Yeah. You Ben Affleck. I just thought this news story was interesting. Not so much that it was Leonardo DiCaprio they're aiming for. They're hunting for big fish. They're hoping to catch a little one with that type of acting chops, though.
They better take their time with it.
I think so.
And do it right.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much.
It's a ways away anyway, so I'm not worried about it.
At least 3 years out. At
Exactly.
least 3 years out. This is definitely a 2020 film for sure. And I think this is the type of film like Joker Origin that wouldn't be a tentpole, summer blockbuster film. This wouldn't be that. This would be something they would release around now to November. It's definitely going to be that type of film that doesn't come out during the summer.
Yeah.
So I just think that was pretty interesting.
No, it is, and I'm definitely intrigued by it even a little bit more, just to see what they were trying to do with that. And I'm surprised they actually threw that out there so quickly.
What'll be really telling?
After that announcement.
Well, they're throwing that out there now to catch the other fish. Now to catch the other actors who are now more intrigued than they were just by the announcement.
Yeah.
I think that's and I think we've talked about it before where. It's studios do this all the time where they're like, we're looking at so and so to be it. Meanwhile, so and so's agent hasn't heard. I mean, like reading this story was probably the first time Leonardo DiCaprio's agent had even heard that this was a thing.
Of course, I'm sure.
I mean, it's not like Warner Brothers called Leo's agent and said like, hey, we want him for the Joker.
Or they called the agent and he's like, no, but you can throw it out there on the headline.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fine. Yeah.
Because it's good. Because any
keeping,
publicity is good for
because Leo has no movie coming out this year, and it keeps him in the headlines and keeps his star relevant. Exactly. That's exactly probably what happened, to be honest, Dave. That makes a lot more sense now.
And it's completely good publicity for Warner Brothers because now everyone knows that they're aiming high for this movie. What'll be more telling about tone, not so much as actor, but who they're looking at to direct. I think that is going to be far more.
There's a lot of interesting prospects out there.
Right.
You can do a lot with that.
Like, I thought it was strange that the guy who directed Billy Elliot is the one that they're going after, or that Disney has announced that they're going after to direct the Obi-Wan film. Like, that's a little weird to me. But it's very telling about their tone. And I think that Ewan McGregor, even though he's not been announced to be an actor, would fit right in with that tone of Billy Elliot, especially like that caliber of director. Because we know we've worked with that caliber of director before when we talk about Danny Boyle. So
yeah, definitely. And it's just one of those things where we shall see. It's a long ways out. These things, the film scripts haven't even been written yet, so it's going to be
no
something that we're going to be talking about for another couple of years to come.
3 years.
So
stay tuned for our next.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for our trailer park on Joker Origins. And can we drop? I hope they drop that title because we saw how putting Origins in films worked out with X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men Origins Magneto, which eventually became First Class, which was good.
Yeah.
But they dropped Origins from the title. So that's going to do it for Super Movie Brothers this week. I've been your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
If you want to comment on any of these stories that we talked about this week, you want to comment about any part of the show, please follow us on Twitter at SuperMoviePod. On there, you can reach out to us. You can comment on the episode after it's been released. We'll be happy to respond. Be part of the conversation. Any responses that you give us on a specific episode, we will bring up on the very next episode. Also, if you want to enter yourself into the contest to win our Star Wars Funko Pop vinyl giveaways for Star Wars Funko Pop numbers 180 and 181, Naked C-3PO, and R5-D4 from the Smuggler's Bounty Droids box giveaway, go on to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, and then screenshot us that review, send it to supermoviebrospodcast@gmail.com. That's supermoviebrospodcast @gmail.com. Jay, Untapped?
Untapped, yeah. Find us on Untapped, on the Untapped app, and Super Movie Brothers podcast. So, or Super Movie Bros podcast, I should say.
Yeah, it's bros. BROS. Don't
Yes.
put brothers.
Yes.
We're not that. We're bros.
We are bros. And yeah, so interact with us, and we will be keeping updated beer reviews up on there, and not just the ones that we review on the show, but also ones we're
we drink
drinking on our
casually.
downtime
Yeah.
on the casual. Yeah,
that we drink casually throughout the show. They go up there as well. And then also Facebook, Super Movie Brothers Podcast on there, Super Movie Bros Podcast on there. And then also we are part of a network. We are very proud of the network that we are part of. It is the Podfix Network. So you can catch me on a lot of the other shows that are in the Podfix Network. And you can go on the Podfix Network, find a new show to love. Just go on to www.podfixnetwork.com. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for listening to all of our long fucking promo spiel at the end of this show.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great night. Cheers.
Cheers.